reporting for TTN HD Production Live, here with veteran casting director Fern Champion. What inspired you to become a casting director?
I think I can honestly say that I was a frustrated actress. I loved the acting profession. I didn't like the rejection. I chose to pass judgment as opposed to being rejected. And so I thought it was so much easier just to pick and choose as opposed to learning how to reject rejection. Let's put it that way.
Has it been what you expected it to be?
Oh gosh, I've had a fabulous and still having a sensational career. I love what I do. I'm entertained every day. How could I not?
What's the most rewarding part of your days?
I think when you have discoveries like Cameron Diaz and Mickey Rourke or Sharon Stone or Danny Glover, that's pretty rewarding. I do. I must. You look at it as a huge sense of an accomplishment. And when you bring Kevin Costner to television, which I've just done, we have a very big miniseries called The Hatfields and the McCoys. So that's a major accomplishment, I would say.
Absolutely. What's it like to discover someone and then see their career grow?
Well, it's like being a mom. You know, you can look at Mickey's career and go, gasp. And then you can look at Cameron's career and go, nice work. So they're like children to me. I'm very proud of everyone I've ever discovered, regardless of the direction they've taken or the kind of person that they end up to be. I still take the credit for bringing them to all of you.
Do you find it to be demanding, and how do you balance your professional life and your personal life, your time?
Balancing has always been an interesting choice of words. Balance. There is no balance. I have two sons of the ages of 24 and 25 now, and when they were growing up, the balance to me was to be with them. So I chose never to run a network or a studio as head of casting because I didn't want to lose that. But I did choose the movies that I knew that they would love. The Mortal Kombats and the Police Academies and the Mask and things that they would come to the set and enjoy and see what their mom does. So, but it's a juggling act more than balancing. I don't know if that's really the same, but it's feast and famine as well. As an independent casting director, and I'm doing it almost 30 years, so I guess I'm pretty good at it. You know, I've managed to sustain, so I'm lucky.
What's your casting process like from selecting who you bring in and then making a decision?
Well, it depends on the project, I would think. On the Hatfields and the McCoys, when you tell people that you have Kevin Costner and he's in it, you seem to be flooded with telephone calls. It's not the kind of where you're juggling. So I had a plethora of talent, almost too much for me to comprehend. I mean, it was star-studded. It was just unbelievable. So that process to me, working with Kevin Reynolds, this director whom everybody wanted to work with, was just spectacular. You know, you're like a child. You're seeing all these major people, and it's very rewarding. Then on the other side, I do small independents where you have no names and you have no money and you're pleading for them to do slasher movies and you're begging for them to do paranormal kinds of things. So it's also an interesting process as well, you know. So I don't know. That's a balancing act, you know, and I enjoy both. I do quite a bit of Lifetime movies. As we know, everybody dies in a Lifetime movie, or they've killed somebody in a Lifetime movie. So that keeps me sort of honest. So then I have to run and do children's movies just to keep me going. And right now I'm doing a wonderful little children's movie, and I did Tom and Huck, and I enjoy working with, you know, young talent. They're just so much more fun than adults, aren't they? I think.
What's the number one mistake actors make when they come into audition?
The number one mistake, I think, to say that they're not prepared. I think they have too much on their plate. I think actors think they can handle so many interviews, and they can't. They're not robots. They're human beings. Being in LA, I think the traffic is ridiculous. So having more than 2 auditions in a day is too much. So walking in and telling me they haven't read my script, it's a no-no. That's a bad thing to say. I don't want to know about any other interview but mine. So I think that's probably really up there with things that I really don't like.
I've heard that a casting director will know if it's the right person within 10 seconds of walking in. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely not. I think that does not give an actor a fair chance. You may be engaged by a look or by a voice, but to say that, oh, you knew first 10 seconds, that's not true. I think there's so many layers. That's a human being. It's a relationship. I mean, you may find someone that you want to date. Do you fall in love in 10 seconds? I don't believe that. You're intrigued and you want to go on, but I think it takes more than 10 seconds, so no.
Do you like working and directing the actors in their scenes that they're auditioning?
Guiding. I'm not a teacher. I do know what my director wants most of the time, and it is my responsibility to make sure that they can change. An actor can, the spontaneity. If a director doesn't like a certain take, that the actor can adjust. So many times I will read a scene and just ask them to change it to make sure they can make and take an adjustment, because I'm putting them in front of my director, and he may have different feelings about the scene. So they need to be, as I said, spontaneous and be able to change.
What advice would you give to an actor?
Marry money. No, I'm sorry. I do a lot of comedies. Advice to an actor: you have to be on your game. Personally, I think there are too many actors. I think there are way too many casting directors. But in order to sustain and to make a statement and to be successful at this strange career, you have to really think outside of the box and take the chances and gamble with certain scenes and again, be prepared. And as I said in the beginning, you need to reject rejection. Many times it's not about the read. It can come down to someone's hair color or, height, weight. So many variables can come into place. So you need to let it go and never apologize for an audition. Oh, I didn't like the way I did that. No, you own your space. You own that audition. It's your audition. You're here to entertain me.
What advice would you give to an up-and-coming casting director?
Don't. There's a lot of don'ts I'm doing. No, you know something? I think being a casting director is one of the most difficult careers one can choose on a film set. Being one of the original members of C.S.A. when we were sitting in a little room 20 years ago trying to become a union, to be recognized. And we still have, huge accomplishments, but we're still, we don't get awards at academies, or Emmys, and we still have our own little RDOs, and we're recognized with our peers. But I think many casting people do not take the time to really learn the art. I think they are an assistant for a couple of months, then they're an associate for a couple of weeks on one pilot, and oh gosh, I'm a casting director. I think they think it's very glamorous, and I think they they just like the sound of it. And I've heard way too many times in this short 30 years how awful certain casting people can be to my actors. And you have to be able to give and not be about yourself. And you have to be confident, and you cannot be stingy. You have to really know that these are people that you're dealing with. And I've heard too many horror stories about casting people that are not ready. They're just not ready. I wish the C.S.A. would really make it a point that an assistant must be an assistant for X amount of years or however, and be an associate for an X amount of time. It's like a presidency as well. I think casting people should come up every 4 years. I think some of us are too tired to continue to do it. I think they're bored with it. I think they should step aside then and let new people and fresh people start. And if you're not happy with what you're doing, get out. And that goes with acting too. If it's uncomfortable, if it doesn't work, get out, do something else. There's too many of us.
You're on IMDb. Is there anywhere else online where we can look at your upcoming projects or find out more about you?
Oh my gosh, if you just, from what I'm told, because I don't Google myself, I guess if you go to Google, people are constantly telling me that I'm here and I'm there, and I've done interviews, and I do a lot of the casting workshops, and I go all over the United States, and I do casting workshops. So I can't really say where, but if you Google the name, I think it'll come up a couple of places.
Well, thank you so much, Fern, and best of luck with all of your upcoming projects, and this was a delight.
Thanks so much. Thank you, everybody.
I'm KATIE UHLMANN reporting for TTN HD Production Live. Great.